we shall have Honorable Olesan Kok David.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity also to add my voice on this very important bill. And from the onset, I support and congratulate Honorable Gladys Wanga for elaborating on most of the issues and being very eloquent in educating us on these issues. Honorable Speaker, as the Honorable Speaker before you had indicated, I'm now happy that we have two more female members of parliament who have just joined Honorable Danita Gatti to hear us, Honorable Speaker, because it was shocking that they took off immediately when Honorable Wanga took the floor, and especially when we are discussing their tool of trade, that is bread and flour, and they being zero-rated, and they just took off. Honorable Speaker, we can talk of exemptions and collection of taxes if we can broaden the base in which we can collect our taxes without hurting the poor, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we need to protect Kenyan citizens. We are a country that, in terms of our social protection system, are really in dire need, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, solar energy, for instance, should be made very cheap and available, Honorable Speaker. Cooking gas, Honorable Speaker, must also be zero-rated, Honorable Speaker. Paraffin should be reduced, Honorable Speaker, because we are going towards green energy, yet we are introducing taxes on gas, Honorable Speaker. And you know, Honorable Speaker, if you introduce taxes on gas, Honorable Speaker, we may be forced, especially for us who are environmentalists, who conserve Mau forest, we may be forced to invade Mau forest to get Honorable Speaker, so that we can remove it, Honorable Speaker, because it is time to remove it, especially when Kenyans are suffering, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in South Rift, we are producers, the highest producers of potatoes, Honorable Speaker, and even eggs, Honorable Speaker. But we are getting eggs being imported from Uganda, potatoes being imported from Tanzania, Honorable Speaker. This is why we need to increase taxes, Honorable Speaker, so that we can protect our citizens, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we also need to protect persons with disabilities. In Kenya, we have 400,000 wheelchair users. That translates to, if each wheelchair costs 30,000, Kenyans are sitting on a metal worth 12 billion, Honorable Speaker, in terms of wheelchair. We have 500,000 caliper users in this country. We have 700,000 crutches users in this country, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, and most of these equipments are donations from philanthropists outside this country, Honorable Speaker. And we tax when they donate, Honorable Speaker. Some of these donors have shied away from donating these mobility devices, very important equipments for our people, Honorable Speaker, because they donate and then they are again asked to pay taxes, Honorable Speaker, on what they have donated, Honorable Speaker. So we should also reconsider the issue of zero-rating assistive devices and mobility devices, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, are you aware that if my crutches break here now, I have either to be carried by Kimani Ichung'wah and Honorable Bandi, because those are the people who are my friends in this house, Honorable Speaker, or I crawl out of this house, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker. Because I cannot allow Honorable Wanga to carry me, Honorable Speaker, because you know the hands can do the moving, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, so we need really to resurrect this, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we have so many Kenyans with corrective. Every year, it does 2,000 corrective surgery and actually correct some persons with disability when they are taken early, Honorable Speaker. Their disability is totally corrected, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, so what we are saying is that we should also see that these surgical items for corrective surgeries for Kiwa International, Honorable Speaker, if it is possible, they are also exempted from taxes, Honorable Speaker, so that we save this country. Because if we exempt, we will increase the number of those whose corrective surgery will be performed. And Honorable Speaker, Honorable Bukose is arguing with you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I'm a beneficiary.
Honorable Sankok, what is it, Honorable Dr. Pukose? You know you have mentioned, you have gotten into the medical out.
No, he knows.
And Honorable Pukose, what is it?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. With all due respect, Honorable Sankok is making a good contribution, but he's misleading the House. And you know, when you're making statements in the floor of the House, Kenyans are watching. It is not just Kijabe that does corrective surgeries. Even our national hospital, Kenyatta National Hospital, Moi Teaching and Referral, Kikuyu Orthopedics, and many other facilities, they do all corrective surgeries. So I think that, Honorable Sangok, for record purposes, with all due respect, I think we need to respect our institutions that are doing similar work within the region.
Honorable Sankok,
thank you very much, Honorable.
You clearly can't engage Honorable Pukose on that one.
No, of course, Honorable Pukase is one of the surgeons that have really performed so many corrective surgery and have assisted so many persons with disability. And himself does it sometimes free of charge, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think the only thing I forgot is that Kijabe, the QI International in Kijabe, money that is carried in sack to churches, Honorable Speaker, some of it go to for corrective surgery in Kijabe, QI International, Honorable Speaker. So I think with due respect, Honorable Dr. Pukose, I think I made a mistake there. I didn't indicate that it is the only one that does it free of charge without charging anything. In fact, they follow the person that the surgery have been corrected to even the village and even offer physiotherapy services free of charge, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, and let us think of 2,600 persons with disability who could have been a burden to the government. Their disability have been corrected completely, and they are no longer a burden to the government. They are not exempted from taxes. They don't import vehicle duty-free. They don't access GACP, Honorable Speaker. It will reduce the burden, Honorable Speaker. And, Honorable Speaker, Kijabe Mission Hospital, Honorable Speaker, by that time, QI International was just a department. Honorable Speaker, I'm now proud because I can walk upright, even if it is with a swag, but at least I can walk upright, Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, I used to crawl, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, the last bit, Honorable Speaker, we cannot give our power to Treasury, Honorable Speaker. We will punish the CS for Treasury for overtaxing Kenyans. Is it the president whose bread is even being paid by the state? But for you, as a member of parliament, Kenyans will punish you if you increase their taxes. So the issue of taxes should remain in this House, Honorable Speaker. VAT should be controlled in this House. I do support, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Manzo Kitonga, member for Makueni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me an opportunity to contribute on this very important piece of legislation. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support it and want to make an observation that one of the things we expected, and I really want to congratulate the chair, she has elaborated issues very clearly, that the whole world now has been affected by COVID, and everyone is looking at the post-COVID era and how to restart the economies. Challenges is environment and its pollution, and in fact there is a world campaign to make sure that there is clean air in many parts of the country. Mr. Speaker, with a very little porous cover, I would have expected there be no exercise or duty, or there be tax exemption, and more important, zero rate. The taxes on cookie gas, Mr. Speaker. The main reason is if many more Kenyans can afford cookie gas, then it means more trees, less trees will be cut, so that you know, people will use clean energy. They will use gas more. And you see, gas is also related to petroleum products, and it is a matter of this House, Mr. Speaker, and that's why it cannot be controlled from elsewhere. That the petroleum products in Uganda are actually more expensive than the Kenyan petroleum product. That's why at times, the Speaker, almost in the middle of the month, many Kenyans have either worked from home or they have, there are fewer cars on the road because they're trying to save on the expenses of petrol. So, and you know, those products affect many more other things, like transportation and generally the cost of products generally in the country. So I think it will make a good case, and this House should look at it when we are doing the third reading, that to come together so that we make sure some of these things which are part of the world arena, like the issue of pollution, the issue of using clean energy, and especially if we promote use of cooking gas, because quite, you know, that particular industry has been very creative. We have the small cylinders, we have the big cylinders. So if more families use that, then it means we don't lose on trees and the vegetation cover will be saved. And then, Mr. Speaker, will be with the rest of the world. One of other matters, Mr. Speaker, which is of very great importance in this matter, is the issue of retirement benefit schemes. Managers, custodians, and administrators to be registered so that there is a system, Mr. Speaker, and I think this is very, very important. I really want us to work on this because as many people end up in retirement, and again, it is associated with COVID. You see the younger children in school are stronger, the younger people are stronger, able to survive COVID without much problem. But when you look at the older community, and we've had quite a number of old people in this country. In fact, research has shown that, which has come from the Ministry of Labor, and I've shared it with the Minister for Ministry of Labor, the CS, that in the lower eastern region, they had 95, you know, people who've really lived long, and also in some parts of the Rift Valley. And this was associated with certain eating habits and how the younger people in those homes have taken care of the elderly. So the issue of taking care of the elderly is very, very important, is very beneficial because they carry historical memories. Some of them saw independence. Some of us were not there during the Independence Day when Kenya, you know, they saw the struggle. And that particular history has to be carried by stories being told to the younger generation. But when we mistreat our retired people, the older people, especially when there is no proper medical care on them, then it means we no longer have them. There are quite a number. So I think the idea of retirement benefits schemes, so that they are well managed and the people who are in charge of them are well controlled to make sure that there is no exploitation, and at the same time to make sure that the terms are favorable so that people can be able to afford medical insurance in that regard, and we take care of our older persons and make sure that generations and generations benefit, and in fact it reaps blessings to the country. That's one of the issues, Mr. Speaker, which had happened. And Kenyans use bread a lot, so I really want to congratulate the committee and the government for having zero-rated the cost of bread. I think it should remain as such, you know, for quite some time till the economies peak. The wheat at times is grown locally or even imported to make sure that enough of that. But this is used almost every morning and every other time of the day. And it's a big industry, Mr. Speaker, which also employs a lot of people. At this particular moment when industries are closing and a lot of people have lost jobs, I still think while dealing with this, we should encourage the SMEs, you know, the local industry. And one of the challenges of the local industry, and I'm sure, because I'm in the Committee of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, one of the things the Minister of Trade is trying to address is the industrialists who are residents in the country or may not be citizens of this country. But some of them have come to settle here. They have huge investments here. They pay taxes. But when it comes to processing of their documentation in the country, because you see, if you are a resident here and you are not born a Kenyan, and you are doing business here and your papers expire, or when you want to renew your papers, it takes a long time with a lot of activities going on at the migration. And the migration has really done a wonderful job, despite the challenges of COVID and the flow of Kenyans making inquiries, is to make sure that those particular investors in the country have their paperwork processed and the necessary due diligence done in good time, so that the industry can be lifted and can be there to employ more young people. The SMEs promotion, even the border rights, and border people have been very useful in the country and making movement faster, movement of people and the goods. But unfortunately, a lot of people are not careful when driving, and a lot of people have lost their lives, while on a border, out of carelessness, of lack of observation, and also people steal these borders and take them across the border, even to reconfigure them into other machines for use in lakes and the water transport. So this is an area really which is employing a lot of young people, which has led into self-employment. It is part of the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. We need to look at that so that there is more support in the small and medium enterprises, so that people may be. And I really want to repeat that this is important. That's how we are going to restart post the COVID era, so that we can stabilize our economy faster and can be able to normalize production and the movement of goods. Mr. Speaker, I really support this bill and look forward into making more and better amendments during the third reading, so that we could serve Kenyans better, and really insist on separation of powers, and that what is our duty we must do, because we are accountable to the people. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Sotsi Godfrey. Certainly not in the House. Yes, Honorable Pukose is here, but it's not your time. It is Honorable Wachira Kabinga's time.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me a chance to also contribute to this very important bill. Honorable Speaker, last week and today we are debating what is Lire Wajikos, and anybody probably who is not around may not have the authority to talk about Wanjiko out there in as far as money in the pocket is concerned, because this is where we are really putting in our minds together, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this finance bill is brought to this House in a very unique situation that the country is undergoing, and we really want to thank the Committee of Finance for being very tight and ensuring that this bill is as conservative as possible to ensure that we do not increase the road already on Wanjiko. Honorable Speaker, it is true that traditionally all our finance bills have focused on taxes as a way of meeting the supply for the budget that we have just done. And I think, Honorable Speaker, is a high time that we start now thinking other ways of raising funds so that we can meet our supply without necessarily increasing the burden on Wanjiko in as far as our budgets are concerned. Honorable Speaker, the appropriation bill that we have just passed, 30% of it is coming from appropriations in AIDS. And that's an area that I would urge the Finance Committee to encourage other committees to emphasize on. Nearly all the sectors that we fund, Honorable Speaker, they have a potential to raise funds by themselves. The only problem here, Honorable Speaker, is the misuse of the funds that are generated from most of these departments. If we can put more emphasis and be more careful in whatever we do we can raise much more from the sectors that we currently fund through our budgets, Honorable Speaker. And in this regard, Honorable Speaker, I, in the Committee on Labor, we are looking seriously into turning NYS into a commercial venture that can generate funds not only for itself, but also to support the budget in this country. And we are looking into the possibility, Honorable Speaker, of using the equipment and the strength that NYS is having currently to not only generate jobs for itself, but also work very closely with some of the international companies that we bring in. And we see no reason why we cannot compel all the companies that come here to extend some 20% or 30% of their jobs to NYS that has the equipment and would be making use of the manpower of our youth who are out there looking for jobs. We shall generate funds, we shall ensure that we engage the youth, and we will also be transferring skills. Honorable Speaker, in my contribution to the budget report, I did not, make a note that most of the companies that we have here, the Chinese companies, are actually owned by the government of China. All we need to do is have the right policies to ensure that some of our government entities can competitively enter into the business market without unfair practices that are going to kill the private sector. And once we go that way, we will have services to our people, generate money, and be able to have a sustainable kind of an environment, Honorable Speaker. So that is one area of appropriation in aids that we need to look at. And I would urge the Finance Committee to work with every committee that would then work with every ministry that they oversight to ensure that we do not just wait for money at the end of the year, but also try as much as possible to make use of the opportunities before them. All of them, they have some opportunities. As I said, this traditional practice of waiting for money and not thinking of how they can generate money is what is killing, Honorable Speaker. We have the Huduma centers and others, and have really clearly shown that we can be able to generate money through them. Honorable Speaker, another non-traditional way of extending our revenue base is to look at areas that like export of labor, Honorable Speaker. And in this market, Honorable Speaker, money would come here, we would have our shilling strengthening, there would be money in the pockets of Wanjiku, small businesses would thrive out there, taxes would be paid, and therefore this country would generate more money. Foreign remittances have the rip-off effect on our budget that is positive, and we need to look at those areas. We need to ask ourselves, how can we reclaim some share from some of these areas, taking care of our people so that when they go there, they do not suffer as we know that they are suffering currently. There are opportunities there, Honorable Speaker, and again, my Committee on Labor will be working very hard in that area, probably because of the short time we have. We are working towards leaving a report in this House, which we believe, if implemented, can increase our current share, which is about 300 billion, to about 1 to 2 trillion in the market. And the potential is there, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, these are some of the areas that we're looking at. I listened very carefully, Honorable Speaker, to the report by the Finance Chair, and I want to thank her. She really picked up in that area, Honorable Speaker, and support fully the idea of zero rating bread. The current proposal to have the exemption, Honorable Speaker, was very clearly articulated by the leader of minority, and we hope that this can be accepted by the Treasury so that we zero rate bread and its associates, including UNGA, Honorable Speaker, so that again, we become friendly to Wanjiko. And this is why I'm saying, we cannot be talking about Wanjiko out there. When we have these kind of bills in Parliament, some of our colleagues who talk about it are not here. So, Honorable Speaker, this is the place. This is the place to propose ways and means of getting money to Wanjiko. And I encourage the few guys who are here, because I'm told they are being represented. We are never represented. We represent ourselves, so that when we discuss these ways and means, how we can strengthen our budget and financing, Honorable Speaker, we do it in the House. It is in the House where these things are done. Honorable Speaker, having zero-rated bread, we expect that now there will be more, people will enjoy much more than they have been. Honorable Speaker, before my time is over, I want to touch on imported goods. It is a high time, Honorable Speaker, that we increase taxes of imported goods. And the fact that we are having some of the countries importing our goods should not be a reason to be held hostage. Some of the countries are holding us hostage, that we cannot increase our import taxes because they are importing our goods. Honorable Speaker, I am looking forward to the day when rice from outside will be taxed at 50%, so that our farmers can start having, can start enjoying the fruits of their hard labor. These people are given subsidies in their countries.
Honorable Kabiga, your space is gone. We shall have Honorable Makali.